Despair. How to overcome despair. There was one woman I was working with. We'll call her name Stacy. She was a young lady, but she was absolutely flat out in despair when she contacted me. She wasn't able to really get out of bed much. So she wasn't functioning in her life. She wasn't eating. She had already long lost her job, but she wasn't sad particularly because she lost her job. She was just generally in despair because as a trauma survivor, this was how she had learned to to cope with the impossible to cope with realities of the world that we live in. And so she was always helping other people and helpful to other people. In her family, she had a mother and father. If ever they called, she would jump up and do anything for them. But when it came to her taking care of herself, her taking care of her life, she had no motivation whatsoever to do anything for herself. And she was wondering how she could get the motivation back, how she could feel empowered. Um, she at times grappled with suicidal ideation. It was very difficult for her to just do simple things like get up and brush her teeth or to go and take a shower, let alone to be able to start accomplishing big goals in life. It would be an accomplishment for her if she just ate a nutritious meal for the day, let alone be able to get out and go to the gym and have energy to accomplish and do things. So she really felt hopeless. When I asked her to explain her feeling, she said that things felt dark. She didn't feel that there was any hope, there was any point. She felt like she didn't really know who she was. In her past, she had indeed experienced complex trauma. Complex trauma is where we don't just go through one traumatic thing in our life, but we endure several traumatic situations that weigh on our mental health and cause us to have emotional dysregulation, hypervigilance, um, and a host of other problems because the trauma is complex. It's not simple. It's not just one thing. So for her, she had a narcissistic mother that she grew up with, who was taking any opportunity to cut down her self-worth and her self-esteem. Her narcissistic mother was harsh, both emotionally and physically, and ultimately she lived her childhood in basic fear of displeasing her mother and in the brainwashing of her mother and all of her sexist and traditional views. And going out into the real world, she just poured herself into whatever it was, her relationships or whatever it was that was in front of her. She felt like she didn't know who she was in this moment. So it wasn't particularly that she was struggling financially, although she was. It wasn't particularly that she was assaulted by her last relationship, although she was. It wasn't particularly that there were a string of other assaults in her past relationships, which there were. It's just that she felt despair. And it was at a point now where she couldn't even connect it to one particular thing. If you've ever known anyone to feel despair, um, it means that you feel hopeless. It's beyond just sad. It's not knowing what the point is anymore. And so we know that following behind despair is the close cousin, which is suicidal ideation, where we start to fantasize or think about what it would be like if we just ended it all. Sometimes this is because the pain is so great. Sometimes it's because we feel like we're hurting other people, like we're worthless, like we're a burden, like we're more than just sad or difficult to deal with. We are actually bringing down others with our own toxicity. And when we feel that way, then we start to imagine what it would be like if we weren't there. Maybe it would be better in some way, we imagine. That's despair, seeing no light at the end of the tunnel. But it's important for us to recognize as trauma survivors that we have to forgive ourselves for getting to this point, for feeling a sense of sadness to the point where we're debilitated, where we're not functioning properly. When we have complex trauma, when we're abused, when we're neglected, we can develop chronic stress and dysregulation. So our our system is dysregulated because we're constantly exposed to stressors. Our body has persistent feelings of anxiety and hypervigilance. So imagine, like in Stacy's case, she was uh, going through assault after assault in these multiple relationships. So her mind has to find a way to keep her safe. And so it says, always feel afraid of anyone or of any men. Always feel like you are in danger. Always or never let your guard down. So that feeling like she can't let her guard down keeps her system in a state of hyperarousal. And so that chronic state contributes to a sense of overwhelm, helplessness, and it fosters feelings of despair. Likewise, for trauma survivors, they may have interpersonal dysfunction where they feel like they can't properly have relationships or trust people, or they might trust you for a while, but then they feel triggerable in their relationships. And this is because they can't develop severe, secure attachments very easily because of the abuse that they went through, because of the neglect that they experienced in their childhood. And so they have these interpersonal difficulties, these feelings of distrust, the inability to be intimate or to be consistent in a relationship, difficulty establishing boundaries. In Stacey's case, she would become what's called avoidant, where a relationship could be going okay for a while, but when she felt stressed by whatever it was, doesn't even have to be the relationship, she would run away from the relationship, go and hide for a while, take a break from the relationship. She felt like by doing this, then she wasn't putting more problems on the other person. She felt like she was sparing the other people when she would get away from them, but really it was hurting the other people that she was abandoning them. And doing that just exacerbated her feelings of isolation and despair. If you have complex trauma or you've gone through multiple traumas in your life, you may be experiencing what's called complex symptomology. That means that you've got multiple symptoms and disturbances in your self concept, your emotional dysregulation, your interpersonal relationships. You put all these things together, you have complex symptomology, meaning it's more than just one thing, which makes it hard to fix. Like maybe if it was just sadness or just anxiety, you would feel like you could get a grasp on it. But it's complex, so everything is like bleeding into the next thing. Your low self-worth and your low self-esteem leads to shame identity. Your shame identity leads to you feeling like you're being judged. You feeling like you're being judged leads to you distrusting people. You distrusting people leads to you isolating. You isolating leads to you being lonely. You being lonely leads to you feeling depressed. You feeling depressed leads to you feeling guilty and worthless. You feeling guilty and worthless leads to you feeling shame. And then we're back to the cycle. Now you're in shame identity again, and you understand that's complex symptomology. And so you feel like you can't break out of the chain because you're so depressed, you're in so much despair, so much pain, so much darkness. One of the things that Stacey would mention is that she didn't know what her purpose was when I would ask. So, what's your purpose? She would say, I can't even think about that. Trauma undermines a person's sense of meaning and their purpose in life. And so they're grappling with questions of existential significance and struggling to reconcile their experiences, their beliefs, and their values in an effort to please the people around them. They have lost track of what they truly feel, what they truly want, what they truly need. They have lost track of who they are because they're constantly trying to change for the people around them. And now without knowing who they are. They're trying to move forward in life, but how can you move forward in life if you don't know your direction? So they're like a car without any particular destination. The loss of meaning deepens the feelings of despair, of anguish, and challenges a person to be able to find hope and meaning in their life. So tonight, I'm going to be sharing with you some ways that you can bring yourself out of despair or help someone else who's experiencing this sensation of despair to be able to find hope again. And I'll tell you exactly what we did for Stacy and what helped her. This is important to be able to discuss these things here, and we're so grateful that we live at a time when we can freely share this information because there's limited coping resources available. It's hard to find therapists that are good, friends that are supportive, or to ever learn the skills in the first place to manage our symptoms and to navigate challenges. So if you felt overwhelmed or feel overwhelmed, if you feel hopeless in the face of adversity, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. And this is the talk for you. Stacy today is running her own business in a thriving relationship. After our work together, things started to gradually change for her. So one of the things that we needed to do for her was get very serious about identifying purpose. Everything in your life, in terms of your direction, hinges on understanding what the purpose is. You can't make decisions if you don't know what your purpose is, because the purpose is your due north. It gives you a compass. For instance, if I go to a restaurant and at the restaurant they say, "Hey, welcome. Um, would you like dessert or would you like to eat a full meal?" If I don't know my purpose of why I'm there at this restaurant, I can't answer that question. Does that make sense? I can't tell you whether I should get dessert right now, or if I should eat a full meal, or if I should get a drink, because I don't know my purpose of being at the restaurant. If I just showed up in a daze and didn't remember where I came from, if I had eaten earlier, what the purpose of me coming to this restaurant is, you understand, I wouldn't be able to make a good decision. So imagine I'm sitting there and the person's looking at me and they say, "So what's it going to be? Is it going to be the food? Is it going to be the dessert? Is it going to be a drink?" And with no purpose, I say, uh, uh, now I'm dysregulated. Now I'm overwhelmed. And let's say I choose something because I don't know what I'm supposed to do and I just want to please the waiter. So I say, "I'll take a full meal." Well, that would be really foolish if what I was really there to do was to interview for a job. You need to know your purpose in order to be able to make the proper decisions in life. It's a very simple illustration for a very huge issue for those who are in despair. A person who's in despair has lost track. They've forgotten what their purpose is and how important it is to know the purpose. Because you can bet I'm going to be very upset after paying for a meal and I didn't even have a job. And by the way, I'd already eaten before I came. I didn't know my purpose. When you don't know your purpose, you get swayed very easily by the forces around you to do whatever it is that everyone else wants you to do. So step number one, in order to navigate through the despair, is to understand where you're going. Your GPS in your car can't navigate you somewhere if you don't tell it the destination. So when we talk about purpose, we're talking about destination. So how do you find your purpose? What is your purpose? How do you do that? How do you find that? How do you identify a purpose? Oh, you got to pick one, just like when you're in your car. You don't get in your car and go, "Wow, ooh, I wonder where this car's going." Is that what you do? No, of course not. You don't get in an Uber and say, "Hey, sir, hi, my name is Roman. All right, yeah, all right, let's do it." And the Uber driver says, "What is your destination?" You have to give it a destination. In fact, those programs are made, you have to give it a destination before the car ever comes. They won't even show up unless they know where you're going. You see how important it is to have a purpose? You have to have a destination. You see, you're living your life like an Uber or like a car that doesn't know where it's supposed to go without a purpose. So how do you find your purpose? Well, you got to pick one. You got to pick a purpose. You just got to pick a purpose. A purpose is a goal. That's all. It's just a big word for what are we trying to do here. That's all. That's all. Your purpose doesn't come intrinsically programmed. That's the problem. We think that the purpose is going to be intrinsically programmed. We're like, okay, God is going to tell me what my purpose is, or there's going to be something I find in my childhood, in my past. I have to regress back. I need to join this. No, I need to take this drug, this mushroom, and then it's going to. No, 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 no. Your purpose is not pre-programmed. You are a bundle of raw materials sent out into the world. You're wonderfully made. You have gifts, you have talents, you have abilities. There has never been a human that has ever lived that is exactly like you. You are one of a kind on this planet. So you have an opportunity to do something in a way that no one else could have done it exactly like you. Does that make sense? That's purpose. What is something I can do that's unique, my unique expression of who I am, that will be beneficial for others and equally beneficial for myself? That's purpose. It's just something you come up with and set a reasonable goal, like 300, 600 days from now, what, 1 or 2 years. That's how you design a purpose. It's not deeper than that. If you wait around for God to tell you the purpose, you're going to be waiting until you die because God is waiting on you. He's like, I gave him everything. I gave her everything she needs. She's got the full brain package, everything. I don't know why she's just sitting there. You understand? Don't wait for someone to come along and say, Andrea, you've been chosen for this purpose in your life. That's not your real purpose. Your real purpose is whatever you decide your purpose is, because we are free, autonomous beings. We are not like the animals that have a pre-programmed like thing that we just live out for our entire life. We're not pre-programmed to just like live a certain way. Don't let your parents tell you what your purpose is. Please. They don't know either. they they need to figure out their life. And it's true that they made you, but the action of making you wasn't wasn't that intentional. It was really just that they involved themselves in the lovemaking process and then they had a baby. In most cases, the parent wasn't like, I'm having this son so that they can go forth into this certain purpose. And even if they did do that intentionally, they still actually don't have the legal rights to dictate the rest of your life. They have the legal right to dictate the first 18. The rest is on you. Once you move out, once you get your own job and care for yourself, it's up to you as an adult. So don't worry so much about what your parents have purposed you to do. That's not your purpose in life. Your parents are not gods, they're fellow humans. Is that making sense? Got to find a purpose. So make that priority number one. Write it down on a piece of paper right now. Don't overthink it. What's something I can do that's beneficial for others? That's an expression, a unique expression of who I am. And that's possible for me based on my circumstances, time, energy, talents, abilities. It's just something unique that you can do based on where you're at. It's a goal. Now, everything now will hinge around that purpose. So you must make sure that every decision you make is aligned with the purpose. Now you know how to guide your life. It's Monday morning, or let's say it's tomorrow morning, which would be Thursday. You wake up. Should you stay in your bed? You have a purpose. Should you stay in your bed? Make every decision aligned with the purpose. Well, if I make the decision aligned with the purpose, no, I shouldn't stay in my bed. I should get up and I should go and start getting some stuff done along the lines of this purpose. Great. Congratulations. Welcome back to life. Welcome back to having free agency. Every decision, not some of your decisions throughout the day, every decision must align with your purpose. Oh, but you don't understand. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I do understand. Welcome to life. There's nothing more noble to get out of bed for than to accomplish your purpose. Many people are just getting out of bed because they're trying to survive. We got to get it beyond that as humans, beyond just surviving. We want to get into thriving. We need to set our own goal for our life and every day do one thing toward that goal. So maybe today you're just going to do research on your purpose. The next day you're going to buy a material from Amazon. The next day you're going to get a job to help you fund your purpose. The next day you're going to, you understand? Every day you do something toward the purpose. It can be something very small. Building your website, that will take several days, right? Most of our purpose is going to involve some level of sharing or advertising either ourselves through applying for jobs or our business through social media. There's always something to do toward your purpose. You will have to every day put out some type of fire or defend yourself in some way, pay some bills, right? Take care of some issues, but don't allow your whole life to be reactionary. You must make sure that you are proactive in your life. And proactive means that you're also building something. So make sure each day you're doing one thing, at least one thing, toward your purpose, something that you've chosen out of love. Now we don't have to live our entire life gripped by fear, but we can actually start moving forward in love. An exercise you can do to help yourself break free of the despair from your past trauma is to create the story of your life. So what you'll do on a piece of paper is break your life down into 5 eras. 5 eras. So you can do that right now on your piece of paper. You can just grab a pen and just write down the 5 eras of your life leading you up to now. And you can break them down according to years. A lot of people like to use relationships, like I was in this relationship, that because it's like it's a clear marker of the eras, whatever feels natural to you, where you kind of create markers so that we're actually creating a story of your life. So I'm gonna start mine off with, and by the way, you can do up to 7 eras, or you can do like as little as 4 eras up to now, right? We all kind of have a slightly different story, but give me like 4 to 7 eras. So I'll do childhood to 13 because that kind of starts for me being a teenager. At 13, I got my first video camera, and I was very passionate about being a filmmaker at the time. So that marked when I was really going into my Renaissance age, which that's what I call that era, my Renaissance, because I was really prolific as an artist. I was making music, I was making movies from the age 13 to adulthood. For me, I would put that at 19 because that's when I moved out of my house. And then I was single from 19 to 21. So that's going to be one era for me. So I have 3 eras so far. My first era is childhood to 13. My second era is 13 to 19. And then my third era is 19 to 21, where I was actually single, kind of, and on my own for the first time in my life. That's pretty significant, like being out on your own, fending for yourself 100%. Um, and then I have the era of getting married. At 21 years old is when I got married. So that era lasted all the way until approximately 4 years ago. So I have the era of marriage. It's going to take up a really big part of my life. And then the era after that would be the era of being single and starting mind trauma recovery. Okay, awesome. So now what I'm going to do here, once you have your eras defined, is you're going to create a blank era. So for me, that's going to be my 6th era, according to this. And in my blank era, I'm going to use something that was a gift that was given to me, and you have one of these too. It was a gift from heaven. It's one of the most miraculous gifts. It's something that you were given when you were made in the image of God, because it's something that God has as well. And it's something that's lacking in animals. It's something very special that we have. It's called the imagination. Do you remember that? Your imagination? Your ability to imagine a better future, to imagine the possibility that things could go well, to imagine a light at the end of the tunnel is your ticket out of here. It's your ticket out of this place of despair. You have imagination. So tap into the imagination real quick and just imagine a world or a life not too far from now, maybe a year or two from now, where everything actually turned for the best. A lot of times we like to just use our imagination to think of all the worst. Let's just take a few minutes and imagine if everything actually went our way. How would it be? What's something that could be realistically accomplished by you if you were to put the work into it that you could actually influence, that's mostly under your control? What would it be? I don't want you to talk about everyone else because that's out of our control. A lot of times we go, well, I'd be happy if my parents would finally get along. Detach. Well, I'd be happy if my children, my adult children, were finally good to me or good to themselves. Detach. I would be happy if I finally met the man of my dreams. Detach. Detach from all outcomes that you cannot control. What all of those have in common is that they are 100% out of your control because you can't control what other people do. I can't make the woman of my dreams come walking through that door. So therefore, I cannot base my future happiness on whether or not that happens. I would actually set myself up for depression for every moment that it weren't happening. You see the problem? You cannot make your parents get along or make them love you. You cannot make them see what they did wrong in your life. You cannot make your adult children behave like adults and be responsible. So don't try. Don't worry about that. Detach emotionally, energetically, just right now. Picture yourself detaching from them and that outcome emotionally. Okay? We're not worried about them. Your purpose on this earth is not to fix your parents, fix your children, fix other people that aren't enthusiastically working to change themselves. Your purpose is to use your goods, resources, abilities, talents, and skills to accomplish some unique expression that will be beneficial for others and equally for yourself. So let's focus on what's mostly in our control, what's mostly influenced by us, and use your imagination to just imagine what life would be like. Can you see it? What I'm picturing is triple everything right now. So I want to have the same meeting, but just like we have 75 on the TikTok and 32 inside our Zoom room, which equals around 100 people, a year from now, it will be triple that. We'll have 300 people on this call. Hey, it's my purpose. I can imagine what I want to imagine, right? Don't get in the way of my imagination. And then, hey, let's triple the subscribers on social media. So it'd be like 1 million subscribers. That's what I picture. I can get that done maybe 300 to 600 days from now, right? That's something that's mostly within my power to influence because I can grind and I can work hard to try to create an outcome similar to that. As a result, I'll be reaching more people, then I'll be helping more people. So that's my dream, to be able to help more people. I like that dream. It's beneficial for me because I'll feel happy. And with more people inside my system, I'll have more people donating to my nonprofit. So I'll be happier, I'll be more stable, and it's helping others because I'll be helping more people. That sounds like a good purpose. So now use your imagination and imagine what your purpose is. And make sure now every decision you make, everyone, all the small ones, should I brush my teeth? Should I go to the store? Every decision needs to align with your purpose, with your well-being, because that is your one job on this planet. When Stacy did that, like I said, everything turned around. She, who knew she could start her own business? She didn't even have a job when we were talking. Now she owns her own business. And it's awesome. It's awesome. She's doing so good. She even found a healthy relationship. And that's a bonus, right? Because you can't even control that part. But I think it's just a product. It was like a byproduct of her being a more healthy person herself. Um, when you're out and about, things can start to happen for you. But staying in bed, she wasn't ever going to find a healthy relationship there. So, all things being said, I'm not saying her life is perfect. I'm not saying now she never feels sad ever, but she's in a much better place than where she was. And you can be too. So, hopefully, the tools that I gave you today are helpful in being able to pull yourself out of despair and hopelessness.